This lesson is on adding and subtracting fractions. The first two we'll subtract are simple fractions. I have 1/5 minus 1/3. I don't have the same denominators, and that's a problem when you add and subtract. So we're going to exchange these current denominators for another form of fifths and thirds. We're going to exchange those. The smallest number, 5 and 3, both divide is 15. Well, how do you get the 5 to become 15? You can multiply by 3. But if you multiply the denominator by 3, you have to multiply the numerator by 3 also, because that orange number is another form of 1. 3 over 3 is 1. Now let's do the same thing with the 3. I'm going to exchange the thirds for 15ths. So how many 3's are in 15? 5. So we're going to multiply the denominator by 5 and the numerator by 5, the other form of 1, 5 over 5. So now my new fraction will be 3 times 1 is 3 over 15, and 5 times 1 is 5 over 15. So now I have the same denominators, but you'll remember when we were working with integers, we always changed our subtraction to addition and changed the sign of the following number. So this problem will really become 3/15 plus negative 5/15. Now the easy thing about this is once you add and subtract, you get to keep the same denominator. So it's some kind of 15ths. Work with the signs in the numerators. I have 3 plus negative 5. So if you'll remember the song we sang, different signs subtract. So 5 minus 3 gives us 2. And since 5 has a larger absolute value, the answer is going to be negative 2/15, and that's already in lowest terms. Now, negative 2/15, you can take the negative with the numerator or the denominator, or leave it out front. All three of these are the same representation of negative 2/15. It does not matter where you put it. Don't put any more negative signs, just one negative sign, but it can go with the numerator, denominator, or out front of the fraction. This problem has a mixed fraction, the negative 4 1/8 plus 3/5. So the first thing I'm going to do is to change the negative 4 1/8 to an improper fraction. So I do this by multiplying 4 by 8 to get 32 and adding the numerator, which is 33. That becomes negative 33/8, keep the denominator, plus 3/5. And now it looks like the problem we just worked. I have two denominators that are not the same. The smallest number that 5 and 8 both divide is 40. So how do I get the 8 to become 40? I multiply by 5, but you do it on top and bottom. How do you get the 5 on the other fraction to become 40? Multiply by 8. So 8 on top and bottom. So now if I change those fractions to another fraction, it's still the same value, but it has a different look. 5 times negative 33 is negative 165, and 5 times 8 is 40. Plus 3 times 8 is 24 over 5 times 8, which is 40. I get to keep the same denominator, which is 40. Now these signs in the numerator, I have a negative and a positive. If signs are different, we subtract. And if you subtract 165 and 24, you'll get 141. And remember, 165 has a larger absolute value, and since it's negative, your answer is negative. And I'm great with this answer. This is already in lowest terms, even though it is improper. But on tests or other places you might see, there are different variations of this answer. So if you needed to change it to a mixed fraction, you can divide 141 by 40. 40 divides 14, not at all, but we'll divide 141 3 times. 140 times 3 is 120. Subtract, and you'll have 21. So another representation of the circled answer is negative 3 and 21/40. Same value. Okay, we'll work one more. Now these have two negative signs. We'll see what that does for us. I'm going to find the same denominator. The smallest number, 3 and 4, will both divide as 12. So how do I get the 3 to become 12? You multiply it by 4, top and bottom. How do you get the 4 on the right side to become 12? Multiply by 3 on top and bottom. 4 times negative 2 is negative 8 over 12. Minus 1 times 3 is 3 over 4 times 3, which is 12. So I don't subtract, I change it to addition and change the sign of the second number. I know my denominator is going to stay 12. And so since 8 and 3 both have the same signs, add to get 11 and keep. So you keep it negative. Alright guys, go back through this as many times as you need it so that you feel confident with adding and subtracting fractions.